Hello to my beautiful family of light. Yes, that means you. And by now you've heard me say that plenty of times, so it must be true. Hey, welcome back to my channel. My name is Claudia, and I'm happy to have you here. And if you're a first-time viewer, I hope you'll have some fun with me. I'm doing a series of videos having to do with my life going from clueless to awakening, and it's been a series of events, right? That we don't come, well, sometimes we come to it by a bolt of lightning, right? But mine was a series of events because of my own earth walk, my life, that has led me to one thing after another to have full recognition that I have something within me that is connected directly with my source. That is what's important about this. So anything that you hear about my life story is just a story. The rest of you have to look behind that to know that what I'm telling you is the something that within me that is connected with source has been activated. So I'm going to continue from here. In the last video, I was blessed and privileged to take my mother to the other side when she passed, and it was something I'd never done before. And so if you would like to look into that, this is going to be number 27. You can go back one video and catch up on what happened during that event. So I'm going to continue from here with number 27 and returning from heaven, me. So in my mind's eye, everything that took place was within minutes. I mean, it could have been seconds. It all just was so seamless and just, you know, how do you, I mean, it's such, there's no time on the other side in any of the other dimensions outside of the earth. Earth is the only thing that marks time. So as you're going through, or as I was experiencing things, I didn't even have any concept of time. Things just happened the way they happened. And, you know, beyond the recollections that I have, which are very, very crystal clear, you know, safely delivering mom was my goal. And I spent time with my guides and guardians and teachers for apparently a much longer time, because the next memory that I have of coming back was waking up next to mom in the hospital room. I was holding her, and she let out her last breath, and there were tears that hadn't yet dried, that were streaming down her face, and she was in heaven, and her body was done with its earthly job. So there was a presence of reverence, immense magnitude of the soul completing its mission. That would be both of ours. I had a real clarity about the magnitude of what she had done during her life. Not that I know what her soul's missions were, but you could tell she had completed them, and they were honoring her, throwing parties, and you know, happy to have her home. And the other thing is, you know, there was such a sense of wonder and awe when I came back into that body. It's an ethereal experience, and you begin to realize that the soul within you has no form. It has no shape. It takes on the shape of this body, and as it's living within us, it is nudging us constantly to our highest and best good in our lives. It's the little, you know, nudge on the shoulder that's saying, "Are you sure you want to do that? You know, you might not want to have that extra glass of wine, CJ, and or take that turn, or that's a slippery slope, or good job, good job." But there was definitely a respect, a reverence I could not even describe, and I couldn't move. I wanted to go back and be part of that. The fact that I was just I didn't come back on my own. It seems like I did probably, but I don't remember it. I was just back there, was like, couldn't I just stay a little longer? I wanted to go back and be part of the grand celebration that was going to be taking place for her. But I also knew she was exhausted and that there was a lot of healing of that etheric spirit body that she needed to rest, and that they would be taking care of for her. And then I wondered, was she really going to sleep for 100 years? I wanted to spend time with her, the grandmother that was over there waiting for her mother that I never really met and got to know, but who was obviously a marvelous person. She was a nurse and probably had great stories I'm missing out on. I wanted to know and remember what transpired between me and my guides. But at this point, and I'm back integrating into my body, I did not have any knowing really of what took place. I'm sure they were probably doing a little patch job on me too, because things weren't real easy for me in my life those first 40 years. And I stayed like that with Mom until I could feel the full weight of her body on me, and then I needed to move. But I realized I'd been given, by then a tremendously remarkable gift. In fact, several gifts. I'd been called upon to fulfill an agreement that obviously the two souls had made, and I was able to do that. And I have no doubt that my source, God, my angelic helpers and archangels and everybody else made it possible for me to do that. Second was that Mom and I had that contract. It was an agreement that we had forged between us apparently before I even came onto the earth, or someplace in my early life or whenever that I wasn't even aware of. And I was shown the truth that we are souls. We are souls having this human experience. It's not the other way around as I had always figured it was, that I'm a human. This is the solid part of me, and I guess I have a soul. I mean, that's how I conducted my life. But as things progress and different awarenesses came about and awakenings within certain aspects of my being, it became, by this time, fully integrated, because the soul, the spirit within me, is the entity, if you will, that took my mother to the other side. And I discovered during this that there is no separation, not between us as God's children. This whole planet has our siblings, our family of light. And not everybody is aware of that or awake to the fact that there's light within you, and it's a spark of the divine that lives there permanently, and it may be low, a low flame, but I can tell you, when you have an experience like I have, your whole body lights up. And we're one. We're brothers and sisters. We're even with the angels and archangels, and we've all, when we're in spirit form outside of this body, there is just no division between us. And I have a story I'll tell you later on down the road about that. And that we are one with our Creator. And I don't normally quote the Bible because I'm not literate in the Bible, but there are things that came to mind. One is when Jesus said, "These and more you can do also." And I became fully aware that that spark of the divine that's within us is it's genetically engineered into our cells, and it's awaiting our will center, this center here, our will. I'm speaking to be in alignment with the will of our Creator, and that is what awakens that genetic code that we have there too, and then it just grows. You have no choice. You don't have an option in the matter. Once you've wakened it up and want to know more, you're gonna get it. And one you just can't experience the divine like this. It had been 20, now it's been 31 years, I think, since my mother's passing. And every time I recall the events, I'm transported back there. I'm immersed in it. There's not a single thing that deviates from the original story. Well, I forget dates and times and that sort of thing, but as far as the actual experience goes, that's completely intact. And, the fact that I knew the way, how to get there, this is only the soul can know this stuff. So, I had just shifted off of Mom's body and was sitting on the bed next to her with my hand holding hers, breathing in my own essence, reintegrating myself back into my body, and the equipment was still hooked up but was beeping. And there were smells to me intensified of the sterility of the surroundings, and I was trying to get feeling back in my arms and legs. It had been 2 full hours, not just minutes. And just as I shifted one foot to the floor, my family returned from attending Mass, and things happened from there. Everybody gets notified that Mom has passed, and they come and take care of the body. She had a living will if there were, an organ donor. So if there was any parts of her at her advanced age and with her illnesses, that they were free to take whatever they could. And indeed, she had beautiful skin, just, flawless skin. And I don't even know where to begin. From my memory, the minutes passed, the siblings arrived, and, life goes on. So we took care of things naturally and did all of the stuff that's required. And then we go to have a, goodbye ceremony. Mom did not want a funeral. She was adamant about that. She thought the family, well, we agreed we were going to do a memorial service whether she wanted anything or not. And so we all gathered one day with her ashes. And on the island where we lived, it was stunning. And it was a beautiful day that we decided to take, her ashes out to the edge of a little jutted rock that we used to love to walk and hike to and sit out there and contemplate and meditate and look out at. You could see Canada and out into the ocean and all kinds of fun stuff. So, but even following her passage, my mom was a force of nature to be reckoned with, and we all knew it. But I'm probably going to read this as much as I can. So, Mom reminds us who's in charge. Even following her passage, Mother had ensured ease for us by taking care of as much of the estate holdings and paperwork as she could, with a few exceptions. And all there were small handfuls of accounts to be settled. For the most part, nothing was complicated. Efficient and considerate like that, Mom was a stickler for details. As for her meager possessions, she had planned that as well. She had designated each of us 7 living children, by numbers. So the oldest was number 1, number 2, and so on down the line. And she had taken all of her possessions, put stickers with the numbers on them, so that you simply went around to her belongings, because Mother was a collector of fine art, of textiles, of things like Waterford crystal. She didn't have lots of everything. She did the one at a time thing and loved every piece that she had. So if a child had shown interest in something and it was somebody else's pile, they had to negotiate with them. So each of the children simply had to collect the numbered items, which avoided a lot of arguments. And if somebody had designs on something in your pile, you could say yes or no, or you could find something else. I couldn't help but start to laugh. It would be just like Mom to do this. And then, so negotiate or not, there it was. And then she hadn't wanted any service or ceremony, and so we decided to fulfill that, but held our own little outdoor memorial ceremony. And it was an unusual sunny day that we gathered on this little jutted area, and although chilly and a bit breezy, it was sparkling, and it just dazzled with all the water, sun glistening. We gathered on the bluff at one of our favorite parks in a great view to the straits and perimeter islands, and all of a sudden the breeze calmed down. It was absolutely calm, and we all took a handful of her ashes and went to throw them. And simultaneously, as we swung our arms up to release the ashes out into the sea, a wind came up and blew everything into our faces. And so, I kid you not, Mom was now blowing directly at us. You didn't pay attention to what I asked. And so I heard audible, oh, yucks from a bunch of, and others were coughing and swiping. It was just, to me, it was kind of hilarious. And I couldn't help it. I mean, I laughed like I am now. It would be just like Mom to have the last laugh and the last word. And so, just with that in mind, thus endeth my mother's passage and all of the events surrounding that. So thank you for joining me today, and I will see you in the next video. And I'm going to do, before I start up the next series, I would like to have your comments below on whether you enjoyed this segment or not. Now I can go directly into rather than doing my life story, I can from now on, because several things have opened wide up for me and the awakening has occurred. But there are other things. We're going to talk about reincarnation that I encounter and other things. And I can do those as separate topics. So I'd really like to know if you'd like to continue to hear me telling my story, or if you'd like for me to do specific topics. And I'd also like to do some live streaming and meet and greet you folks. So if that's in the cards, please put some comments down below. Let me know by liking and subscribing that you enjoyed what's happening here, and it also helps this channel to grow and gets an awakening out into the world just by listening to my words. Something is stirring within you that you may not even be aware of yet. So, okay, I want you to know I love you this much. These arms, this love, this joy for you goes all the way around you in a loving, warm embrace. Please be good stewards of the Gaia, of our planet. These arms go around her every single day, hoping that she'll sustain us for many more years to come. And until I see you again, stay safe, be well, be happy, find things to laugh about yourself about. You can tell I do all the time. And know that you're loved far beyond your imagining. You are more than you think you are. Thank you for joining me, and I look forward to the next opportunity and the next video of you joining me there. Bye till then.